Welcome back to Inner Peace Better Health. I'm your host, Sayan, and today's conversation touches something a lot of us, I think, quietly struggle with. That feeling of living slightly out of alignment, like your life is actually moving, but not necessarily in the direction your inner self wants it to go. Today, we are joined by Robin Clare. She's a best selling author, spiritual teacher, and the creator of the Harmony Method. What I really love about her work is how real it is. She isn't talking about perfection or actually escaping the world. She's talking about showing up more with honesty and ease and more alignment that we're just used to giving ourselves permission for. So, if you're feeling out of sync, stretched thin, or just wondering what this inner peace actually looks like in everyday life, sit tight. This conversation is just going to land today. So, welcome to the show, Robin. It's an absolute honor to have you here with me today.
Yes, Sayan, thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. And I have been looking forward to this conversation, Robin. So let's start with the harmony method, which connects inner peace with purposeful action. So I want to ask or, start with how do you describe harmony to someone who feels stuck in chaos or self-doubt?
Yes. So harmony is a frequency, and I call it the frequency of true success because you can use the harmony method for anything in your life, from work to relationships to wellness to creativity to even social justice and political turmoil. And so that's what
Right.
I love about the harmony method. And I can share with you the harmony method. What is it? It's not complicated in describing it, but it does take effort on the part of the person who is looking to achieve harmony in their life. So, harmony itself is when your inner world is aligned with your outer purpose. And that creates a vibration of harmony because you're not fighting against yourself and you're not fighting against others. It's like you, your inner world, your soul is now out there in the world living for with you. And so there's no
Mm.
place but there's only room for harmony there. So how do you get there? What is the path to harmony? It's comprised of 6 phases. And some will go faster than others because maybe in one of the 6 you have to do or more, you have to do some inner work to find out why you can't do what is being asked of your soul is asking you to do. So the first one is awareness. And that is when you are quiet enough and present enough to hear what your soul is asking you to do next. Now, we are only one moment away from the next present moment, right? Because people are like, I can't be in the present, right? Well, you're only one moment away, right? And so, what is it? How are you in the present? For me, the best way for me to be in the present is to go for a walk in nature, right? Or just go outside. Somehow, the combination of connecting to the sky and the earth brings me present. And, and then I meditate too, but it's more of a connecting to that inner place inside of you, however you get there,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's awareness. When you're in awareness, you'll be able to hear what's next. And you only have to
Mm.
hear one step. It's not like you have to hear your whole life's purpose. I happen to know what mine is. I'm writing these books and speaking. But it took a lot for me to get here. It took years and
Right.
years of healing of my own personal trauma to be able to do
Right.
this. So it's not an easy path, but it's definitely doable. I'm here to say that it is. The next step on the
Mm.
path is commitment. Commitment is not easy. Like, it took commitment for me. It took awareness for me to hear about the harmony method, to hear what it was that I was supposed to teach. But then commitment was the I had to write about it, and to write a book takes effort and commitment. And so I had to say, I'm gonna write 1 hour every day, and I did that for a year, right?
Mm.
I didn't always
Mm.
write every day, life happens, but that was my commitment. It was actually on my calendar. I put a date with myself every day. And then the next
Mm.
is mastery, and that's when whatever I had to really embody harmony myself in order to be able to teach it, and honestly, Cyan, there were times where I was like, "I don't even know what this means." Like, how am I supposed to teach it? Even though I'm writing about it, right? There was like a block between what I was doing and what I needed to become. So mastery is becoming the teachings that you want to share, or becoming the expert in what you want to do in your work, or becoming the best
Mm.
father you can be, right? Or the best mother, right? So it's the
Right.
becoming. And then service is the next one. So we have awareness, commitment, mastery. Service is then giving of yourself with what you know and what you've become, like sharing it with
Mm.
others, like myself being on this podcast with your audience.
Right.
I'm sharing this information. And then the
Right.
next one is interesting, which is leadership. And so most people think it's leadership out in the world, but the definitions that I received about leadership, it's first self leadership. Am I walking the walk of these teachings? When you see me, Cyan, do you see someone who seems peaceful and harmonious, right? And actually, that's what started the process, is because I kept having people say to me, geez, when I grow up, Robin, I want to be like you. I want to be peaceful and harmonious. And I'm like, why are they saying the same thing to me? And that's when my awareness kicked in and said, am I supposed to write a book about this? Because this is my fifth book. And all the other 4 have come the same way, where where the universe or the divine, whatever you wanna call it, is asking me to bring teachings into the world. So we have awareness, commitment, mastery, service, leadership, and then that leadership, that self-leadership naturally leads to leadership of others. My goal is, I'm hoping that it becomes a harmony movement in the world where everyone is talking about this, right? So then we have leadership, and then the next last one is freedom. Now, freedom can mean so many things to so many people, right? But in this work, freedom is when your inner world, you've done your work, you looked at healing your trauma, you're more peaceful inside. When that inner, and you know what your next step is in your soul's journey on this planet, and assuming that you believe that we are a soul being having a human being experience, like we're here to learn what's next for our soul. When that becomes aligned with your outer world, meaning what are you here to do out in the world? What is your purpose? When those two become aligned, then you are in a state of harmony.
Mm.
And that alignment is the freedom, right? The freedom to live what you know to be true to your own soul or to your own heart. And then there's one
Mhm.
bonus one. There's one bonus one that comes when you're in harmony, and that is from a state of harmony, you are in greater connection to your sovereignty. And
Right.
sovereignty is a very interesting concept because for me, I thought it was like, oh, I'm the queen and don't mess with me, right? Kind of thing, right? But it really wasn't that. I thought it was
Mm.
that. And maybe that's what I needed at the time when I thought it was that, because maybe I needed to be tougher. But what it really now is a deeper connection, my sovereignty, to what is my true divine nature. Even maybe even beyond my soul. Like, how do I connect to all being and all universal energy? And who am I in this? Who am I as, maybe one might say, a divine spark of the God energy? Like, can I live in that? Can I live at the highest version of myself while I am in
Mm.
this planet, while things are going on in my life, while things are going on in my children's lives, my husband's lives, the world, the community? Like, can I maintain that sovereign energy in order to make
Mm.
decisions in my life and to be the best version of myself? So that's the bonus that comes from being in harmony, is that it's so much easier to access that
Mm.
sovereign energy.
Wow, you talked about, pretty much everything in this. And after you shared, your method to achieve this state of harmony, this makes me feel like, this whole inner peace and harmony feels so accessible right now. The way you explained it, I think
Yeah.
it makes inner peace really feel less like some big achievement and more like something I think we ease into step by step, like you explained in your case. And it brings me to something I've been always curious about, Robin. You talk about moving from striving to a more easeful and
Yeah.
aligned way of living, right? And
Yes.
I think a lot of that comes from how we are conditioned to equate success with struggle. But how
Oh,
can someone actually break out of that? I would like to call it a self-destructive mindset and see beyond the purely materialistic aspect of success. Sorry.
yeah. I actually believe that when you can learn to align with your just like you said, with your inner peace, right? The name of your podcast, and you get step into a state of awareness where you can really begin to know what is your purpose, right? Here, I think that when things are hard, um, I look at it 2 ways. When things are hard, I say, "What is this situation trying to teach me right now?" Like, maybe this is something on my path that is, just a block. There's a wonderful book called, what's the name of it? The Big Leap, and it says, "Between our zone of brilliance and our zone of genius." So our zone of brilliance is how we're really good in the world. Our zone of genius is what our soul intended us to do in this world, like our genius, right? And in between that, there are obstacles. And I always so when obstacles come and they seem like struggle to me, my first thing is, what is this trying to teach me? Why did that person show up in my face and say that thing to me? Right?
Right, right.
Why is going on here? What do I need to learn? Now, if I really feel that I have honored what I think I needed to learn and they're still being a jerk, what I do is I turn the mirror the opposite way. And so whatever they're saying to me bounces back to them, because sometimes you just need to say enough, right? I get it. I understand. I will grow from this, but that other person's still having a good time giving you a hard time. Right? So you have
Right.
to turn the mirror around, 'cause I do believe that people mirror things to us that we need to learn, but if we feel like we've learned it, turn the mirror and let it bounce off the mirror back to them, because it's something they need to learn about not harping on something when they can see that you've done your work.
That's well framed, Robin. That's very illuminating that you shared. And I think many listeners will recognize how deeply ingrained that harder equals better mindset is and how freeing it is to release it. Because I think so many people might carry that belief that if something feels hard, it must be right or, more valuable. And letting go of that
I
can
don't
feel
know,
freeing.
I'm not sure that if something feels hard, I think you need to decide, is this worth doing the work to achieve it?
Right.
There's also, if something feels hard, I mean, I've lived a long time. If something feels hard, sometimes it's not meant to be,
Right. Right. And it's
right?
so
So
important
where do I
that
distinguish between the 2, right?
right.
And sometimes I'm just willing to release it. This is not meant to be, it's too hard. And then what typically happens is when you release something that's too hard and it's really not meant to be, truly not meant to be, something comes in to replace it,
Mm.
that, when if it's too hard and let's say you surrender it, really surrender it, right? I am not doing this anymore, right? Enough is enough, right? When you're really truly in surrender and you surrender that situation, what happens is grace will arrive, but you have to allow it, Cyan. You have to say, I am worthy of the grace that's coming, whether it's something else to do, something another person to help you, a teacher, right? Whatever it is, a lesson, a book, right? If you surrender it, you have to be willing to allow the grace to come. Because
Absolutely.
sometimes we don't feel
And
worthy of the grace, and we have
mm,
to be worthy of the grace. We're soul beings
right.
here. Grace is our natural, uh, something that we're entitled to
Hmm.
as a soul
Yeah,
being.
and I think the most important part or the step that you need to be or need to take actually is try to be in that opportunistic mindset, that
Mhm.
retrospective mindset
Yes.
that will allow you to see, beyond the horizon actually, that when one door closes,
Yes.
another will open. I think that's the most important mindset that one individual should be in.
I love
And
that.
coming to that and coming to your work, Robin, you blend spiritual insight with practical guidance. You help people
Mhm.
translate that inner clarity into real
Mhm.
world action without losing their grounding. So, my question is to you for listeners who are navigating right now through stress, burnout, or recovery. How can harmony become a stabilizing force in daily life rather than just a spiritual idea?
Well, it's interesting because if you follow the path of harmony, right, and you come to a place where you feel good inside, right? You feel like you're on the right path and you feel good inside. And then there are people in the world and life and, because remember, you're doing your work, but not everybody else is doing their work, right? And so you're going to come up with people's own angst and anxiety. And the thing that I do the most to helps me stay in a place of harmony is I do something I call practicing the pause. And what happens is if I'm trying to stay harmonious and someone like is in my face. Is that a good way of saying it? Like, with their stuff, I just pause, I just look at them, I don't react, and I give myself a moment to breathe, and then I say, "It sounds like you're upset. Is there something I can do to help you?" How's that? Right? It sounds like you're upset. Is there something I can do to help you? And typically, that disarms people because they are looking for help. There's something going on and they are looking for help. And if you can, from your state of harmony, say to them, I'm willing to help you, it it's totally disarming to them because that's actually what they're looking for. And they don't know how to say it, so they say it in a way that's can be mean, right?
Hmm.
Or not loving.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that so openly and hearing how harmony actually shows up in your own life. Um, I think it makes the whole idea feel real, not just in theory. And I think my biggest takeaway from this conversation has been harmony isn't something we achieve once and then check off. It's something I think
Mhm.
we learn, forget, return to, and rebuilt through lived moments. And that alone
Yes.
gives, I think, a lot of us permission to be gentler with ourselves. And I think that's the perfect place to wrap this up on, Robin. And before that, I just want to ask this for anyone who wants to explore more about your books and connect with you, where can they find you on?
Yeah, I would say the easiest is to go to my website, which is Robin, Robin, H is in hand, Clare, Clare, robinhclare.com. And there you'll find things about my private practice, but also links to my books and my blog and just other tools are coming too. All my podcasts are gonna be on there, and, yeah, and it's an interesting website. It's called the Harmony. When you get there, it says the Harmony Movement, and as I said, someday, I'm hoping that this becomes a way of life for people,
Hmm.
and you can say, "Ooh, she was on my podcast before it became a movement."
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much for that, Robin.
You're
I feel
welcome.
happy. Thank you so much again. And dear listeners, I'll have the show notes. I'll have the details in the show notes for you so you can check them out anytime at your own convenience. And with that, we hit today's mark on this conversation with Robin, who reminded us that harmony isn't about juggling everything perfectly, it's about alignment with yourself. If something that Robin shared today stirred something in you, maybe a moment when you felt seen or a place in your life that suddenly made more sense, don't ignore that. Take one small step this week that brings you closer to the version of yourself you actually want to live as. It doesn't have to be big, just honest. Thank you for spending this time with us and for choosing conversation that support your inner world as much as the outer one. I am Sayan, and this has been Inner Peace Better Health. Until next time, take care of yourself, lead with truth, and keep coming home to who you really are.